for technical issues. Okay.
It's
Yes.
not an issue.
Yes, that's
Shiva,
it.
hold on.
It is live. Okay.
We're live. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. Mwiriwe muraho. My name is Umwari Shivan. I'll be your host for today's TITO's discussion. Just so everybody knows, TITO again stands for This is the One. It's an Adventist platform that where we discuss godly relationships that lead to healthy marriages and that honor God. Today we have a great privilege of learning from a man who needs no introduction to many of us, a man of many hats, a respectable pastor, a leader in many different communities, a lecturer, an author, a loving husband, a father, and a grandfather. Above all, he is a man of God. We're welcoming Reverend Canon Dr. Antoine Rutayisire. Pastor, thank you so much for making time for us out of your busy schedule. And the time difference, we do realize that it's not easy, but we really, really appreciate you coming and being here with us to discuss and teach us about having godly relationships that honor God and also make us happy. So thank you.
Yes.
If
Thank
you'd
you.
like
It's
to
a
say
great pleasure.
something.
No, I think I will have much to say, so you just start the conversation. But let me start by thanking you for even daring to start a platform like this one and entertaining it. At this moment when the whole world is in disarray and lots of confusion, I think it's good to have young people who just think that it's still possible to build good relationships and maintain them. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for that. It is definitely very important. So we'll dive right into our questions. Time is fast spent, so we'll dive into our first questions. And so just so that you know, we have about 10 questions, maybe, yeah, about 10. They're in different categories. The first category is understanding relationships. The second, I titled it as discernment and preparation. And then the last is more of a wrap up or like challenges that we as young people face, and we would love to hear your advice about it. And after all that, if any other people have any questions that they'll have in the comments, we'll also ask that and we'll close it up. So that's the plan that I want to share with you for a discussion. My first question and understanding relationships is, what do you think are the key signs of a healthy relationship?
Okay, see, key signs of a healthy relationship.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think this is an easy question.
Yeah.
Number one, if you are really going to engage in a healthy relationship, it must be authentic, genuine. That's one, because some relationships are characterized by pretense. Yeah, I will come back to this if you ask the question, but if you fall in love with somebody who is double-faced, it's somebody who is changing his faces, somebody who is living a kind of who lives with a mask, and somebody who is not genuine, really. How do you know somebody who is a cheat, who is not genuine? You simply, if you find somebody who is not ready to speak about himself, where he comes from, what his past is, his parents, his brothers and sisters, and his past experiences, you better put some red flag on that relationship. Because if you live with somebody who is not ready to open up and speak the truth in honesty and genuineness, then that's the first thing. So the first sign, the first key sign of a healthy relationship is that kind of honesty and genuineness where somebody will open up. And so that's one. The second one is easy communication. If you have somebody who is so difficult to communicate with, when you sit together and discuss an issue, he is not ready to listen. As a matter of fact, if you see somebody who doesn't listen, again, put a red flag on the relationship, because there are some people, they always impose their views and they will debate their views. It's like a fight. So if you find somebody who is not easy to communicate with, then you put a red flag. I'm not saying you cut the relationship. You simply put a red flag. So easy communication. That's another key sign. A third one is respect. If you are a girl and you find a boy who doesn't see you only as an instrument of pleasure or a tool for his own pleasure, because for some boys, girls are simply a bed, sex. So if you find somebody who reduces you to that small part of yourself and sees only in you an object of sex, then you simply put lack of respect, you put a red flag. Okay, respect. What else? Actually, this one combines all the others. You add personal character.
Personal character. Yeah.
Sometimes you have friends, he may be he smokes a lot, easily angered, and even he may not, he's depressive, because sometimes I find people who married out of compassion. You never marry somebody out of compassion. Say, no, he was just feeling bad and I wanted to comfort him. Never marry to comfort anybody, because that way you're preparing yourself to be miserable. Because some people, they are so manipulative. So they come to you, they make themselves so vulnerable, they make themselves so depressed. So it's as if they need your compassion. Okay, fine. Give him your compassion, but not your heart. As a matter of fact, I will tell you, unless you really find that it's somebody who is, otherwise he's a good person, but he happens to have that small problem. But all in all, those are some of the characteristics, the key signs of a healthy relationship.
Also very good. I got genuinity, easy communicator, respect from both sides, and most importantly, personal character, as that determines really everything that you just mentioned
Yeah,
about.
because actually, if I were to expound on character, mainly if you are really thinking of marriage,
Yeah.
if you are thinking of marriage, you look for somebody who has got a sense of vision. So this is somebody, when you sit together, you are going somewhere together.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who is compatible with your own character. So when you sit, you can talk, you can plan together, you can adjust things, somebody who is humble enough to apologize when he has gone wrong or did something wrong or offended you. So that's character. So anyway, next question.
Thank you so much for that. My next question is, why do you think God created relationships or marriages in the first place?
Oh, good question. Number one, let me start with relationships without marriage, because not all relationships are meant to lead to marriage.
Sure.
because God created relationships, because even God himself, God is a social relational being,
Yeah.
because you speak of the Trinity, so God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So our God is a relational God. That's one. But number two, when he created us in his own image, automatically we became relational beings. It's because we are
True.
created in the image of a God who is relational.
Yes.
So, but when it comes to marriage, it's more than that, because marriage is not only meant for relationships, because marriage is goes beyond relationships, because marriage is the seedbed of humanity. That's where God will get more people, because children are born from a marriage, so they don't just happen. They are born in a marriage. So that's one reason. The other reason is just because man needed company, so, and intimate company. And thirdly, because God needed a place where he can meet people. The home is the first church that existed.
Yeah.
Eden was Adam's home, it was his country, and it was his church. So, yeah, those are the three major purposes of God in creating marriage.
Those are great answers, Pastor. I believe it
And
was
as,
very well explained.
and as a matter of fact, if you look at the three purposes, that tells you when you see a marriage going wrong or bad, you check
Yeah.
the three purposes. Because if you get a home without God at the center, that is marriage without foundation. Because what makes our families and our homes solid is the rock bed of divine presence and surrender to God and obedience. Because there are things I don't do because I'm a man of God. There are things I will do because God expects me to do them. So God
Yeah.
is the foundation of marriage. He's the rock bed of marriage. Number two, we are created to marry so as to satisfy each other. So if you marry a husband or a wife who simply is looking for his or her own satisfaction without considering the other side, then that marriage is going to fail. Then, thirdly, there is the blessing of children, and the children, they are part of what makes a family blessed. Yes, there are people who are barren who don't have children, but yes, they are happy, but something is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the next
Great,
question.
great answers. Our next question is, it's a bit, so it's going to be, I'm going to explain a little bit. So the question is, if love is truly a choice, how do we
Mhm.
understand the strong emotions and the so-called quote unquote butterflies that we feel when we're attracted to somebody else, someone of the opposite gender?
Okay. Let's make a difference between attraction and love.
Hmm.
And that's where most of you make a mistake, because you pass somewhere, you see Mr. Handsome, that tall boy with a nice face and even nice talk. Then you start say, "Oh, I found
Technical difficulties, guys. Give it a second.
In the meantime, do we have some maybe audience people that if you want to start asking questions in the chat, please put them in the chat. You're also going to have some time to talk.
I don't know if he's back yet. Let's see. Pastor, you there? One more thing that I could ask, if part of the participants, may you please write your names? Like I see iPhone. If you have a question, we could. It will be easier for us to have a name on your Zoom, please. Colin, thank you for your question. I'll make sure it will be asked. It shows that he's on, but doesn't. I don't think he can hear us.
I'm happy to see everyone here. I see a lot of familiar names that we've seen each other in the TITO edit. As we wait for Pastor to come back, I just wanted to encourage you guys to look into that one. TITO edit is every other Sunday when we're not having this type of formal discussions with guest speakers. So it's just a shameless plug. Another one of TITO's series is the TITO edit.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for joining, by the way. It's good to see many participants in the group, and I'm sure the pastor also appreciates it. When we're like, fewer people, it doesn't keep the conversation as fun. So thank you everybody for joining and for coming through. Really appreciate it. We'll give it a few more minutes. He did mention that he is having some challenges with his network, so it was a little expected.
Maybe you can play some background music as we wait.
Sure, that's a good idea. Let's see. Let's see what I can do here. Any favorites?
So, just a quick thing, maybe to add on to what Colin was saying, we've been having some really great conversations in the TITO group, and maybe we can share some highlights from those, maybe for people who weren't able to join the last one. So this is the TITO edit or TITO code conversations. So I'm going to maybe ask if Colin can add on and share some highlights. Also as an invitation for any of you who aren't able to make it to the next ones. And this is also a good time to think about any questions that you want to ask Pastor, so that when he comes, we get right into it.
All right. That's cool. I think that's a good opportunity to share with some of you guys who haven't been able to make it. But we just started TITO Edit last month. So every week we get together, it's off the record. We just ask relationship scenario questions, and then we break them down using the TITO code. So the TITO code has 3 pillars. One is covenant over convenience. The second one is dignity over drama. And the third one is holiness over chemistry. So we look at different scenarios and then we break them down based on those and see where the pillars are being violated and which ones encourage them. And the first week, the discussion question was, we haven't defined it, but we're acting like it's serious. So in that week, we had a good discussion. Is he back?
No.
In that discussion,
I'll let you know, Nidhi.
yeah, we had a great talk, and one of the takeaways were undefined closeness creates avoidable confusion. Second one was that time increases responsibility. And the third one is we do not entertain or would never marry. The second week, the topic was he's godly, but I'm not really drawn to him. And the takeaways there were great. We had a really enjoyable discussion. And the takeaways were holiness does not cancel attraction. Secondly, a clear no can be more dignified than a prolonged maybe. The third lesson from week 2 was covenant requires wholehearted agreement. Both people have to agree, which was great. And the third one, which was last Sunday, the scenario was why haven't you told anyone about us? It was a really interesting discussion. It actually bled into the chat. And the key takeaways there were relationships move toward marriage. Relationships that move toward marriage should slowly move into the light so more people know about it over time. And a few trusted people can bring wisdom and accountability if you share your relationships with them. The third lesson we took from there was the couple should talk clearly about when and who to tell about their relationship. So the decision is made within the couple. And whenever they inform people, it's more of a notice more than trying to get approval from the outside. So those are really good lessons. There's a lot more scenarios planned ahead. So tune in next week for a brand new relationship scenario. And I want to welcome those that attended to share their takeaways too. I'm sure there's some takeaways that I might have missed. Yeah. Mm.
Thank you so much, Colin. That was really nice summary. Yes, I do see some people in the chat that who have been with us all these 3 ones. So feel free to share. And Teta and Ivan, if you are ready with a song that you'd like to feature for us, we'll be happy to hear from you as well.
All right, good.
I think the meeting host Shiva, if you can, you could play like some.
Yeah, sure. I can play something. I'm trying to get him on the call, but I think his network is still having some challenges. So we'll just give him some time whenever he's able to come back. Okay. Give me 1 minute so I can pull up the song. Some hymns. Any favorites? Or we just do some hymns? Okay. Hello.
Teta, I said that you had kind of unmuted for some time. Are you ready? You can feel free to go ahead.
But by any just any song, like any hymn.
Maybe.
I think the easiest thing would be to like stream from one of the hosts. Nyamga streaming a song in the background. It's gonna sound more audible than.
Yeah.
It's also okay to be authentic, right? It's fine. It's not about the voices, I guess. Mwe muri babiri mwaturirimbira nta kibazo. It will be hard for everyone to sing along, but if just people that are together, it will be okay. I see sometimes people want to hear from you. Lazio, can you
Public demand.
kandi twakwishimira kubabona mujye ku kavideo mwari muriho hakiri kare.
Okay. Hold on, let's pick a song. Let's decide. Hold on. So we're gonna sing 422, Marching to Zion. I forgot to put it here. Yeah.
Lovely, we like to see that. Go ahead.
Marching to Zion, 422. Yeah. Come with the love
Love the Lord and let our joys be known. Join in a song with sweet accord. Join in a song with sweet accord. And that's around the throne. And that's around the throne.
We're marching
To
to Zion.
Zion. Beautiful, beautiful Zion.
We're marching
Upwards to Zion, the beautiful city of God.
Let those be
Used to sing who never knew our God, but children of the
heavenly kings, but
children of the heavenly
kings
may speak their joys abroad, may speak their joys abroad.
We're marching to Zion,
Beautiful, beautiful Zion. We're marching upwards to Zion, the beautiful city of God.
The hills
of
Zion yields a
thousand sacred sweets before we reach the
heavenly fields, before we reach the heavenly fields. Oh,
walk the golden streets, oh walk the golden streets.
We're marching to Zion.
Beautiful, beautiful Zion. We're marching upwards to Zion, the beautiful city of God.
Then let
Our songs abound and every tear be dry. We're marching through Emmanuel's ground. We're marching through Emmanuel's ground. To fairer worlds on high, to fair worlds on high. We're marching to Zion, beautiful, beautiful Zion. We're marching upwards to Zion, the beautiful city of God.
Collins, we can't hear you. I don't know if you're speaking to us.
Hello, everybody. Your host is back. I was trying to figure out what's going on. So unfortunately, the host has to start. Tita and Ivan,
Shiva,
may you
it took.
please pause the music?
We've stopped singing a long time ago.
Can you hear me?
Thank you so much for
Okay.
singing for us. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I appreciate it a lot. So just so you know, thank you everybody for joining us. We're not done with our meeting. We're just we're changing slightly because the pastors had some network issues. And because of that, he's dropped the call. He's having challenges with his network again. I was trying to just call him and he's not even able to talk on the phone. He's just texting me, and that's what he told me. So which means that unfortunately we have to postpone this to a different date.
Shiva, it's okay. We are
Um,
recording this, so we can still have this conversation with answering the questions in the chat. So let's have a general youth conversation like we always do. It's fine.
We are having our TITO discussion, which we're also excited to have, and Collins will be the host of that. Colin, you can take it away. Thank you, everybody. You're muted, Colin. We cannot hear you.
You're muted. We can't hear you, Colin.
Colin, we cannot hear you. I don't know if you can hear us either. Can you guys hear Colin, or is it just me?
None of us can hear him. We can't hear him.
Okay. We texted him, so let's wait and see if he can see that.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now. Go on.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, I saw some excellent questions in the chat. I don't know when I cut off, but I'd really love to just open it up to the group and see what we can try to tackle this. I'm sure Pastor would have had much greater answers, being an experienced pastor in counseling and ministry and relationships. But we'll open it up and see what we think. Maybe we can help each other with our perspectives. So one of the questions that I saw from Pacifique was a really interesting one. And it goes, can you move forward with marriage with someone who struggles with anxiety, fear, and unhappiness? How long can we help this person? And how can we justify breaking apart from this person knowing that we will need help at some point also. I'm curious what you guys think about that answer. You know, it's unique, and it's something that seems to be a perfect scenario question for TITO edit. But I wanna see what you guys open up to you guys. So mu Kinyarwanda, if I try to translate that one, mu rugendo rwo gushakana hari igihe uhura n'umuntu uri kunyura mu bibazo, utishimye, struggling with anxiety. Sinzi nimba hari ukuntu mu byumva, if you should move forward ugakomeza muri urwo rugendo rwo gushakana, kandi nanone uhisemo ko mwatandukana, ni iyihe mpamvu yatuma mutandukana, kandi nawe ubizi yuko mu myaka myinshi muzaba muri kumwe mwarashakanye, nawe ushobora kuzanyura mu bibazo nk'ibyo ngibyo by'uwo muntu. So should you move forward cyangwa se kubyitondera ugashaka umuntu uri stable emotionally, mentally and everything else? Pacifique, sinzi nimba wenda waduhereza context of how this, you know, came to occur to you, nimba ari ibintu wanyuzemo, or knew someone who went through it, and if so, how it ended. But yeah, if you can open up your mic and give us some context.
Hey, hello everyone. And can you hear me?
Hello,
Yes, ndakumva Pacifique.
Yeah, so my question was, if you and someone you love are planning to get married, you know, how perfect does that person have to be? And let's say example, it's like a person that struggles with anxiety, struggles with fear, or maybe they might be going through depression. I mean, can you still, you know, get married, or, you know, how long can you help, you know, that person, you know, to overcome those things? And, you know, and also, cause you don't want, you know, those things to be, you know, transferred into marriage. And you know, my other question, it's like, what if you depart from that person and you get to some point in your life where you need, you know, where you go through those things as well? Because I know once you get married to someone, you're married to them, you know, for better or for worse. You know, if depression comes, anxiety comes, fear comes, you have to, you know, you have to figure out how to work those things because you're married. So what about before you get married? You know, would that be something that, you know, as Christians, that we can like maybe end the relationship with someone who's going through those difficult times? And I'm sure that we can help that person, but how long can we help can we help that person? That's my question.
Kellen, yes.
Okay, hi everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. My take on that would be, while he was explaining the whole situation, I was thinking about the chapter in Corinthians that talks about love. He talked about the person you love. That's why he started with. So if you love this person, you have to be patient with them, because the Bible says love is patient. And if you're truly in love with them, and like, you know, you love them, because they also say love is a verb, it's an action. So if you know that you love this person, you can be patient with them. One thing I know about anxiety, depression, and maybe fearfulness, those things are not like chronic diseases that are going to be there for like a long time. They need support and help. And you can be that support system for them, like in the meantime, even though it takes time. Like if you're not in a hurry to get married, you can, because marriage is also it's like a full-time job, I would say. It's like a responsibility. If you don't think they're in a position to handle marriage because of the anxiety or depression, and you truly love this person, then be patient with them. If you're in a hurry and you're like, oh, I gotta get married, I'm getting old and stuff, then, you can just be their friend, support them, and marry another person. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Kellen. Yeah, David, please. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I think that Kellen said it all. There's this Bible verse that I wanted to read in 1 Corinthians 13:7. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. So if you really love that girl, you should be ready to endure the hardships and stress and all the anxieties and stuff. So, but if you're not really ready to commit and be with her and walk the journey with her, you just find a way to break up with her, but also remain around by making sure that she receives all the assistance she needs, and just be a good friend. But if you're not ready to commit, and you be like it's like you're complaining. So if you're complaining about the girl being sick or being not in a good mental state, just break up with her and find someone else.
That's a good point. I hope, Pacific, that kind of shed some light on that difficult question. But I see Pastor Rutayisire is back, maybe not with video to try and save some bandwidth. Can you hear us, Pastor?
Yeah, sure. I can hear you.
Well,
Oh,
lovely.
wonderful.
Welcome back, Pastor.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what happened because I tried everything, but it wasn't going through, either calling or reconnecting. But finally, it has reworked.
We're glad to have you back.
Are you sure we can carry on?
Yeah. Everybody's still here, gladly. We're very excited to have you, so people stuck around.
So everybody is still around.
Everybody's still here. You're the only one missing, and we're glad that you're back.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we're just having.
It's very unfortunate that the connection got disrupted.
It's okay. Things happened. But I'm glad that we can get back.
Do you still have questions?
Yes, the questions are still there.
Okay.
Let me
I
see.
think let's try and see if we can go through this without a problem.
Yes, hopefully. Emmanuel, it shows.
Quick question,
okay.
Pastor. Are you still able to put on your video?
Do you need the video? Oh no! I can put. Simply that I shifted to using the phone rather than using the computer. So I thought it would, but I can put the video. It's no problem.
Okay.
Do you want to try that one? Yeah, let's try that one. Then we can just go to voice. But it'll be great to see a video so that people can put the voice to the face.
You want to see my face?
Yes.
Yeah, we love it.
Would love
no
to.
problem. Here I am.
There's the handsome man. That's great.
So
okay.
Now feel free to ask your questions.
All right, let's get back to the questions. I had kept them, but I will just open them up here again. Okay. Back to our questions. I think we're on, let's say, number 5. So we start from number 5.
Were we on number 5?
Yeah, we can start from number 5. That's okay.
Okay, that's fine. You start where you want. It's no problem.
Okay. Okay, so the question is, I don't know if you answered this completely, but we can just go through it again. It is, if love is a choice, how do we understand the strong emotions and so-called butterflies, quote unquote, we feel when you're attracted to someone?
Well, actually, I think that's where we got interrupted because
Yes, sir.
I was telling you that choice is very essential because the fact of having those butterflies in your body and feeling the kind of hot flashes when you see the person you love, as a matter of fact, may even be the cause of most of the problems we have. Why? Because the fact of seeing a handsome young man or a beautiful young lady, and you feel the butterflies, doesn't change the elements I spoke about in the beginning. Because Mr. Handsome
Yeah.
may look good, but actually I remember I got too disconnected when I was telling you about this song by Elvis Presley, who used to sing the song, "You look like an angel, look like an angel, talk like an angel." And then finally he says, "But I got wise, you are a devil in disguise." So you see, the appearances sometimes don't reflect the character. So that's the big problem. So you need to be careful when you get those butterflies, and so you take time, you cool down, then you check the other issue, the other key elements I spoke about. You check for genuineness, you check for honesty, you check for character, you check for nobility of character and things like those, and then you make your choice. But you need always to be careful and attentive.
Yeah, that answers. Butterflies tend to dismay some people, but it's good that if you check the above characteristics, then we will be able to make the right choices. Thank you for that. Okay, our next question is, what role should a person's relationship with God play before they pursue a serious relationship? Mm. Um, We'll be right back, guys. We'll be right back.
So the question that you asked, I'll take a stab at it. You
Go
can
on.
you can make him repeat it too. But is it what? So what role does being your relationship with God play in choosing a spouse? I think it's everything. You know, we read in the Bible of all the moments when the our forefathers, you know, spiritual forefathers wanted to marry somebody. They always prayed to God, and God would tell them this is the right person or this isn't the right person. I think about Isaac, how the process of him getting his wife was, and so having that connection with God really helps you choose the right person. And when we know really well that God is the one that picked a wife for Adam, he saw what he needed and gave him just what he what would please him and the right partner for him. So
The thing though, God doesn't choose our spouses. So yes, maybe I wouldn't even say that he chose for Adam. He created for Adam. So that's different. But from today's day and age, God doesn't, I don't know if God can choose your spouse. I'm not sure about that. So I guess that's where the question comes in. Do you think God chooses your spouse?
I answered it. Maybe some other people can try to answer the question too.
So you can take a try on it. as you wait?
I think in our time and age, like we have many options, and maybe it's advisable to let God choose. Like you could have options, they're all in church, they're godly men, everything, like they take off everything on your list. It just makes sense to say that you have many options. But then how do you know that which one is best for you? Then that's why you let God, choose for you, because he may be perfect on paper, but in his heart, we don't see the heart. So then you're like, God, I don't trust my decisions. I don't trust my judgment. Maybe help me choose. And maybe women, like me, we could have many guys, like, talking to you, and they're like, oh, I want to marry you. We want to do this together. I will love you. I'll be there for you and stuff. So how do you know who's telling the truth? You have options. That's where God comes in. You're like, God, I don't trust myself, but I like this one. This one is perfect for me in my own opinion. So you let God choose for you. And I believe he does choose for his children if you give him the platform. But then you also have free will. You may have all those people, and sometimes even something feels off about someone, but you're like, oh, they're the perfect partner for me. And then you just feel like something is off. And then when you go with them, your choice, like it may lead to a bad place. So I think we should let God choose for us. That's why I believe God chooses for his children when we let him choose for you.
Okay. So does that mean then, just to understand you better, that maybe we would say that God doesn't choose for us, but if you ask him for wisdom and discernment, then he can help you decide? Is that what you're meaning? Or do you mean that he doesn't choose for you at all, but if you ask him, then he will choose for you? Which is which?
Oh, well, I would say, well, there is something of you having to ask him, but I've also had stories where it was like very vivid, like God was entangled in the whole story from the beginning to the end. So I think it comes down to you and your relationship with God. Like if you're to the place where you feel like you can invite God in your relationship, you give him a platform to choose for you. But if you don't also want, I don't think God can force himself into your life if you don't want him to. So I think it's about you allowing him, and he will not force you to choose anyone you don't want.
Okay. Answers my question. Thank you.
I was helping you monitor the chat. It looks like Jonathan Rutayisire had a comment. So if you still want to, please go ahead, Jonathan.
So good evening, and yep. What I wanted to say was that I think Helen has already alluded to it. I was saying if we are to follow God's guidelines and instruction on how to choose and who to choose, because a person can be genuine, but the person does not have all the virtues and the characters you're looking for. Therefore, through thorough scrutiny and all of those are really needed for you to, because we were given different guidelines, and I think his message to young lovers where Ellen Jewett, due to her insights through visions, she could advise the youngsters or on different giving them warnings that this later and this it cannot match because of this and this and this. Please decline it. All those kind of information. So Karen has done it well, saying that if we are to follow God's guidelines, we don't have to actually receive visions, because in our Christian life journey, if you have received enough right and the message is clear, you can easily go through the words, check it, speak with the person. You don't need a vision. But there are some people who could get vision because God has deemed it right to give them vision that this and this and this. For all us, actually, we have to go through the way you
You scrutinize the right doctrine and principle to follow as the Christians. That's the way you should scrutinize the person and seeing whether it's the person worth to go ahead and continue courtship until marriage. I think that's my point. Thank you.
You know what? I saw another question. I think this person might have already left, but we can talk about the question nonetheless. It says that how are we to relate with our exes after we have already forgiven each other and we are aware that there is nothing between you? How does total forgiveness look like while maintaining the distance and boundaries? This actually hits on our second pillar of the TITO code, dignity over drama. How do you treat your exes? Oh yes, Pastor is back. Maybe he can take a stab at that question. Pastor, welcome
Yes.
back.
Thank you.
So we had
Welcome
that
back,
question in
Pastor.
the chat.
Let's hope the connection will stay on.
Yeah.
You know what I think, Pastor? I mean, today was there's a lot of issues, but maybe we can have another time when we have another. We do this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure,
But
we can do it.
finish
We can
this.
do it again, but let me try and answer to your question. So
please, yes, go ahead.
If it goes, then so can you repeat the question?
So the question goes, it's about how we treat our exes. It actually tackles one of our pillars in the TITO code that we like to follow, that says we respect dignity of drama. So the question goes, how are we to relate with our exes after we have already forgiven each other and we are aware that there is nothing between us? How does total forgiveness look like while maintaining distance and boundaries?
Well, actually, I think treating exes, or all of us when we are young have gone through that kind of situation. You simply decide you are not going to marry, but you remain friends. So, which means you reduce your relationships to the strict friendship level. So you no longer engage in the kind of emotional engagement. So you just become friends. And I could tell you, for instance, when my ex, she left me, and then we agreed that it was best that we do it that way. She got married. I attended her wedding, and actually at one point she had a problem. And we met, we talked, and then I told her, actually, I can help you solve your problem. We are friends. So you remain friends without, you don't engage in the kind of emotional entanglements that usually create problems. Because when you've decided not to carry on with the relationship, you simply decide not to to engage in those deep relationships anymore.
Can you? Yeah, that's very profound, Pastor. Can you go a little bit deeper and unpack what the differences between an emotional entanglement that is reserved for couples versus an emotional entanglement that is reserved for friendships? What's the difference? Can you give us examples?
Very, very huge difference, because if you are engaged for marriage, it means you keep on making plans as people who will get married. It means you really become you slowly become one, if I can use the term. But if you know the relationship is taking you nowhere, number one, you set boundaries in terms of the kind of emotional engagement, because I've seen many young people who get heartbroken, because they know this relationship is going nowhere, but they can't let go. So the time you decide to put an end to the relationship, you simply disentangle yourself. So you become friends, but without future commitments in terms of saying, oh, let's go back and see if we can make it. No, you simply be firm. Say, okay, well, this relationship has come to an end. No more entanglements. Because, when you're in love, you get entangled with each other, you quarrel, and then you start anew and things like those. But when you know and decide the relationship is over, then you better make it clear that it's over and no return. I find that's why most people suffer, because you keep going back to a decision you took. You took the decision, this relationship is not viable. Then some days or months ahead, you go back. That's a recipe for calamity.
That's wonderful. Yeah, what I'm hearing there is that if you make a decision, stick with it and act accordingly. Your actions should align with your decisions.
Exactly. The day you take the decision that this relationship is going nowhere, the sooner you decide to disconnect, the better. Otherwise, the relationship is going nowhere, but you keep going to it. And the deeper you go, the more entanglements you create, the more problems you create, the more hurt you are going to end up with. So you better decide. If you are carrying on, then carry on. If you are not carrying on, don't go one step ahead and then 2 steps back, then another step ahead. Because dancing on the same spot is what creates confusion.
Yeah.
You better be decisive. As a matter of fact, in relationships, the people who suffer most that I've seen are the people who do that kind of thing. They are not able to be decisive in their relationships. This relationship is taking you nowhere. This relationship is toxic, but you stay in it. Why? Just walk out.
Yeah. Usually they've already entangled themselves too deep and they feel like the breakup is going to be too hurtful. They might as well try to save it. It's a sinking ship, but they want to say it's like the Titanic. So expensive. It took forever to build.
Yeah, well, actually, when the boat is sinking beyond recovery, you better take the lifeboat and run away from it. Otherwise, it's going to sink with you.
Now, Pastor, what other concerns do you see most, especially in young Christians today? When you observe their relationships, what other concerns worry you the most? What patterns do you see that are like, man, this is not a good trend?
Well, actually, the first one is the kind of trivialization of purity. A good number of you young people, you've trivialized purity. So you engage in sex as you want. And as a matter of fact, that's what creates lots of the hurts. Because you see, the way boys conceive sex is different from the way girls conceive sex. For girls, sex is love. For boys, sex is just leisure and pleasure. So that huge difference is what causes a lot of trouble. And I often tell young people, tell them, don't play with the emotions of your sisters in the Lord. Because you tell a girl, I love you. What do you mean I want to go to bed with you? Once you've been in bed, you drop her, then you leave a wounded person behind. And some boys are so bad that behind them is a long queue of wounded people that they dropped. This one is like an orange. You just take out the juice and then you drop the peels. Then that one, another orange, you take the juice out, you drop the peels, and so on. And so you just say, well, you are just treating people as things. And I think that's why, we have a big problem.
So it's trivializing sex and purity. What else? Yeah. What other patterns concern you, Pastor? We'll come back to the sex one.
No, that's one problem. Then the next one is a kind of ignorance about what real marriage is about. Some of you think that marriage is this kind of emotional fire where you go in, you sing poems and you sing songs and you bring flowers and gifts and so on and so, the kisses and the caresses and so on. But finally, you get ahead and you find life is different from that. Married life is different from that. You get a woman who is pregnant with changing moods. Then you get a baby, then no more care for the husband and things like those. And then people say, no, love is dead. I say, no. Love is not dead. Love has changed faces. Because this kind of romantic, whatever you call it, is just a bait to attract you to each other. But once you get into the home, love changes faces. It shifts gears. So love becomes purposes that you fulfill, dreams that you dream together, projects that you build together, good times that you spend together, issues that you solve together. So that kind of togetherness is what create kind of long-term love, not the kind of fire burning like in a furnace. So when the furnace goes out, then the real fire starts, the real love starts. Out of the ashes of the romantic furnace comes the seeds of true love.
Wow. That's a good answer, Pastor. I feel like it sounds like it's all about persistence. When you persist in love, then you can go over the highs and the lows, and because that's what marriage is all about, highs and lows, if I understand you correctly.
It doesn't have to be highs and lows, actually. All of us have those changing moods, but it doesn't mean that your marriage has to go through those. As a matter of fact, the big issue for me with you young people, you go into marriage not knowing where you are going. So it's like going into an unknown territory without maps. So you just keep meandering around and say, oh, am I going to find the home I wanted to go to? So you keep meandering around, it doesn't take anywhere. Take the next one, it's a dead end, and then you get confused.
Yeah.
The first thing you should know, go into it well prepared. So find people who will teach you what to expect, how to plan your marriage, how to fit everything together, and then you know what you are expecting. You know what you are building. Most of you young people, it's like building a house without making the drawings. So you're building a house, but you have no drawings. You don't know what you are building. How will your house look like? You don't know.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's one of the major issues.
Great answer. Do you think
That's profound.
one of the people who were here, unfortunately they didn't mention the name, but they have a question that says that what do you say about the concept of God creating one person for us? Do you think there's like something like a soulmate, that there's only just one person out there for you? That was someone's question.
Well, I don't believe in one person, because otherwise those who remarry wouldn't be happy.
That's true, yeah.
So
but maybe they missed out on the first one. The first one was the wrong one.
No, actually, let me tell you something. If you find a person who fulfills some of those qualities I told you, the next thing you need to do is to learn to create something out of your relationship. So for me, I find that I could easily craft a home with a person as long as he or she fulfills she has the qualities necessary for the home. So it's like spare parts. As long as they fit, you can exchange the spare parts. So it's like that. But take it just at the face. I mean, at the comparison level. Otherwise, you will say, oh, just boys or girls are just spare parts, which is not It is not true because you need to build true relationships. But otherwise, I don't think. But there is a but. God will always fit this person for you because at the end of the day, you just need one. If you try this one doesn't work, then it means yours is next. If it's not the next, then he or she is somewhere waiting for you or just growing up until you meet.
Yeah.
Do you think, Pastor, is like the way I'm thinking about it is like when you buy a new shoe and when you first put it in, it's a little tight, it's not that comfortable. But the more you wear it and you break into it, it's a tight fit and you don't even want to trade it for any other shoe. Same thing, there might be at the beginning, it might just fit right, the size is right and everything, but the longer you're married, the more you go through different challenges and positives and your shared goals, then they become really your person that, finding a whole new one and starting over might be difficult.
Well, actually, it's partial. Comparisons are always partial. They are not full. They don't represent the full reality because in marriage, the adjustment, or actually, as a matter of fact, the adjustment is part of the pleasure. So the more problems you solve together, the more projects you build together, the more issues you go through together, it binds you together. It's like companions of arms. Soldiers who have fought together in a war, they become good friends because they've supported each other, they shared their pains together and things like those. So it's more than the comparison show is a good one, but it has limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. There's another question here from Tona. Tona asked, does God give you signs regarding whom a person will marry? If so, what are those signs? And her second question was, if you ask God for signs about a specific person, does he actually provide them?
Don't ask signs about a specific person.
Okay.
Because already, if you're asking God about specific signs about a person, you are already engaged. Deep inside, you are simply asking God to approve what you have chosen. Yeah. Otherwise, let me give you one thing that will test you when you start a relationship. If you are able to say, God, if that boy is not the right one, just break down this relationship. Break it up. Guaranteed he will do it. And if you say, if he's the right one, strengthen it, build it, he will. But usually you pray that prayer when you are already in some level of engagement, because you are not so sure if she or he's the one, then you start asking God. But by the way, the best thing to do, ask God before you get the person. Surrender your life to the Lord and say, Lord, I surrender my life to you. I'm going to serve you. When the right moment has come, bring me the right person. And he will. And if you see I'm going the wrong route, break that relationship and kill it. And he will. As long as you are his child or his daughter, if you are dependent on him and you surrender fully, he will do it. In the meantime, mature yourself. Because I think very often people are so much worried about the other person who will come. And we are rarely worried about ourselves. If you are a girl, ask yourself the question, what makes a good wife? How do I prepare myself to be a good wife? How do I prepare myself to be an attractive young lady? A woman of character, a woman of competency, a woman of good looks, but not so loose and not so easy. So you become the kind of girl that boys will want to marry.
Pastor, I have a theological. Yeah, I have a theological question that also plays into relationships, because in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. It says, part of the consequence of the fall, right? God tells them, your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. So some people interpret this as the beginning of a struggle for control between men and women. How do you interpret the words desire and rule in this passage?
Actually, you see, because desire and rule, in the beginning, man wasn't supposed to rule over his wife. They were equal. So that's a punishment. And part of the plan of redemption, Jesus restored the primeval relationship between man and wife. That's why when Paul is writing to the Ephesians, he says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved his church and gave himself for it, so as to bring it to himself without blemish and stain. So which means actually what Jesus did on the cross, he redeemed us from the curse of sin and then restored our relationships and rebuilt our relationships.
So the kind of effect that we see in relationships today, even among believers, what do you attribute to that? Like in terms of, men reacting like, oh no, she just wants to control me, or she's nagging, or when passages, some in the Old Testament.
Well, you see, let's talk about a nagging woman, or she's controlling. As a matter of fact, that's a consequence of sin, because we have many sinful behaviors and sinful tendencies that we don't correct. The reason why we are not perfect is because of sin. So when you repent, and it's a work in progress. You don't just repent one day and you become perfect. You are work in progress until you die. So which means,
could you help me understand the actual curse, so that if I see it coming up, I know how to identify it? Like, what does it mean by the wife, you will desire your husband, and the husband, you will try to rule over your wife? What does that actually mean in practice?
In practice, actually, the reason why girls get attracted to boys, and very often they are looking for, there is a kind of dependency. That's why they will tell you, oh, girls are always looking for boys who have cars and a house and a good salary and a what. So there is this kind of tendency to look for somebody who will provide for you. Then the reaction, which is happening today with feminism, is when girls say, well, I don't want to be dependent on anybody. So you just, they try to prove they are not as dependent as things appear. So that's a reaction. That's a rebellion.
Okay. Good answers. Good
So
question.
what you're saying, if you could maybe expand on that, what the reaction to the man getting a girl that wants a provider is to now use that provision as a way to tell her what to do and put her in her place, because he sees her as someone who depends on her. She cannot do anything if it wasn't for him. So he controls her that way. Is that?
No, not only that, actually, you may not even provide, but because she got attracted to you because you are Mr. Handsome, then you get her under control, you start manipulating her, you start misusing, so which means you really show her that you are the man in control, which is not good at all.
Yeah.
Because you become the bully in the home.
Great stuff. There's another question that another person pointed out on the chat, and it says that as Christians, how are we to relate to our exes if we've already forgiven them? And are we aware that there's nothing between you? Like, if you know that there's nothing between you and them, how do you maintain your distance and your boundaries? And especially if maybe there's like some some strings attached.
Well, actually, I think I have answered that question,
Yeah,
but
you
let
did.
me repeat it. If you have
Yeah,
an
you did.
ex and you've decided that the relationship is over, I mean in terms of walking towards a marriage,
Yeah.
the day you decide the relationship is over, you simply put a boundary, emotional boundary. You don't allow for any extra entanglement. Otherwise, you are going to create hurt for yourself and for the other person. So you simply be decisive, and the sooner you cut the link, the better. Walk out of the relationship, but keep the friendship, but avoid the kind of manipulation that very often comes. I've found some exes who destroy the homes of their former exes because they say, okay, fine, she took him, but she's going to suffer. I will make her suffer. And you make sure that you remain in a close relationship with her husband to make the other lady suffer, even sometimes destroy the family. It happens. I'm often counseling people who go through that kind of manipulation, and the exes become a problem.
Unfortunate. All right. Thank you so much, Pastor. Just the last, we have 2 more questions to close off. And one is, if you could warn young people about one main mistake that often damages relationships, what would that be? Most of us here are not married, so we're just working with relationships. So that's one main one.
Okay. One mistake I will tell them to avoid: don't go too far into a relationship if you don't intend to get married, because that's where most of the trouble starts. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
When I was in the second year at the university, there came a very beautiful young lady. She was in the first year. So we became good friends. Then the relationship started warming up, and then it started heating up. Then some of my friends told me, as I said, Antoine, we want to ask you a question. You are in the second year university. Are you intending to get married this year or next year? I said, no. Then you better just cool off that relationship. Step back, because you are moving too fast and too far. So I cooled off. During that cool off, the lady met another man who was ready to go. Actually, she lives here in Kigali. Sometimes we talk about it. We remained good friends, but I knew I was making a blunder. By then I was 20, and I got married when I was 32, which means I wasn't really ready to get married. So the first mistake most of you do, make, is to go too far into a relationship, taking it to nowhere. And usually the result is hurt and emotional damage. So that's one. Number 2, even when it's a serious relationship, sex before marriage will corrupt your relationship, because you get at a point where you say, I don't think this is the one. And then you find that you've already gone too far. Maybe the girl is pregnant, and then you are entangled in a relationship you didn't want. And if you are a boy of character, you marry, but you know very well that you are marrying the wrong person. I've seen a good number of young boys marry, or you as a girl, you just go and commit you make an abortion, which is criminal, at least in the eyes of God. So some of those things you just avoid. So that's another mistake. But for those who are serious to get married, the mistake they make is to get married without proper preparation. So you go into marriage without really knowing the terrain you are going to live on.
Wow.
Okay, if I may ask something quickly.
Yes.
There's somebody who had asked a question very early from David. I see he may still be on here. So David, feel free to speak up and add on. But he had said, what does the Bible say about marrying but deciding with your spouse not to have kids? So that's one question. I'm just going to ask to both of them. And then Tata had asked a question specifically to Pastor. When did you know, what made you fall in love with Christ? So maybe looking through the chat, those were the two questions that we hadn't touched, and I think we had covered everything else. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the first one is about getting married and not having children. Well, actually, it's a choice because the Bible says children are a blessing from God. So although the blessing is available, I may choose not to take it. It's a choice. As I may choose not to marry, even having children is a choice. So if you decide not to have children, that's your choice. No more, no less. Biblically, there is no such a thing as an obligation to have children, although that's one of the purposes of God on marriage. So if you marry and you decide not to have children, you have your own reasons, then it's a choice. I don't think it's a problem. It's not even a sin. Although behind that choice, there may be a kind of selfishness or a kind of laziness or a kind of egocentrism. The sin is not having children. The sin is the cause or the reason behind it. So if you do it out of egocentrism, then it's a sin. It's a flaw in your character. So the other one about what was the other one, Sharon?
What made you fall in love with Christ?
What made me fall in love with Christ?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was tired of the kind of purposeless life. You know, sometimes you live a life. My life was apparently, by all appearances, my life was successful because I was a very bright student. I was very good with sports. I was, anything you can desire really as a young man. Or maybe not the money. I didn't have the money yet. But the thing is, you know, you live a life when you look deep inside yourself, you are empty. I'll give you an example. You train, I was running 400 meters. There was the captain of the university track and field team. You train for a year. Then you go in a competition. You get a medal. They put it on your neck. People applaud you. You pass around. People see you with your medal. You feel proud of it. But the following day, you are not going to class with your medal on your neck. So the medal loses its meaning. And just is this what they call success? It's empty. It's full. It's attractive before you get it. Once you get it, it becomes empty. So you keep running after empty things and empty things and empty things. Then you are looking for something that will work like an anchor for your life. Then finally, I found it in Christ. That's all. That's my answer. Because it brought a sense of fulfillment. It brought a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. And I know what I live for. I know why I do what I do. It's all connected. So he connected my dots and made my picture, my purpose of life very clear. Yeah.
That's a great answer, Pastor. It has reminded me of, I think there's a verse in Solomon. Solomon was saying that all this I've acquired, yet all is meaningless. But besides the fear of God. So that's a good answer. And that's the verse that you reminded me of.
Yeah.
My last final question, and this is closing, just in case anybody else has a question, I'll open it up. What is one piece of advice that you leave us with, us as young people who truly desire godly marriage from now, like till the marriage comes? What's one piece of advice that
Okay, let me start with the last words, godly marriage.
Yes.
Godly marriage is a marriage between two godly people. So before your partner, your wife, your husband comes, exert yourself to be godly. Exert yourself to be a model. Like Paul wrote to Timothy, who was a young man. He said, Timothy, be a model for others in your words, in your purity of heart, in your love for other people, in your behavior. So you just exert yourself to godliness. Because before you talk of a godly marriage is a marriage between two godly people. So if you get one godly person married to an ungodly person, you can't have a godly marriage. So you need two godly people to make a godly marriage. So before you get your husband or your wife, exert yourself to be that godly person. And by the way, that is something I like. There is a kind of beauty about godly people. Because what every boy is looking for in a girl is that kind of pure character, that genuine character, that authentic character. So be that person. And then if you meet the boy who is that person, then you create a godly marriage. That's all. Let Jesus be the master, the Lord of your life, the Savior of your life who purifies you for sins, and the master of your life who controls your movements and makes you better and better and better every day. That's all.
Thank you. May that all be our portion, everybody on TITO. If anybody has a question, please feel free to ask the pastor. I'll leave the mic open for anybody who wants to just come up and ask a question. Feel free, be brave.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Karen.
Yes.
You talked about something, girls be looking for men who can provide for them. And then you talked about feminism, trying to solve that, and girls feel like they do not need men like anymore. So do you think feminism in general is a bad thing, like from a Christian point of view, or you think it's a good thing that people tend to use in a bad way and like get out of the line that the Bible set for us? So what is your take on feminism?
Well, actually, feminism has some positive points. Feminism, that defense of or for women who are oppressed, so that fight against oppression of women is very positive. The problem with feminism is that, number one, it goes too far to negate some of the qualities of being feminine. So they want to prove they are equal to men. They want to prove that what men do, we can do. You don't need to fight. You don't need to be aggressive. Because when you develop that kind of aggressive character, actually you become obnoxious and unattractive to men. I don't know any man who loves a woman who is so defensive and so who is always on the offensive. It's not proper. It's not proper. So the thing is, there is a good point about feminism, defending the rights of women, which men should join in. But there is a negative when you get a woman who is always reactive, who is always self-affirmative, who is trying to prove that she can compete with boys and men and beat them and what. So just fine. By the way, even when you meet a man who is like that, somebody who's always competing, who is trying to prove something, then usually that kind of character is not very attractive. You just check around you. you will notice.
Do you know, I think another angle of feminism, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we try to encourage men to be more feminine, get more in tune with their emotions and feelings and all of these things. So just to piggyback on what Kellen asked, does the Bible encourage us to be more of what God created us, like women become more feminine and men become more masculine, or try to adopt some qualities of each other and kind of blend in a way? What do you think about that?
Actually, you are right, because feminism is trying to turn women into men and the men into women, which is not true, because men are men, and if you spend your life striving to become a woman, you will not succeed. But there is one thing you can do. As a matter of fact, you learn to be with women, not to be a woman, but learn to just understand, learn how they think, learn how they perceive things, and enjoy their uniqueness as they enjoy your uniqueness. So be a man unto God, and let women be women unto God. And then when you meet, you really enjoy the difference. You enjoy the company, because God created women different from men so that they can complement each other. So the day women want to be men, they will not complement them.
Do you know, Pastor, I think one of the ways that we've been created differently, I see in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33, when God instructs husbands to love their wives and wives to respect their husbands. So we see here that women deeply need to feel loved, while men deeply need to feel respected.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
so
kind of true.
Right?
Yes.
So how can, when conflict happens, the woman wants to solve the conflict by feeling loved, and the man wants to resolve the conflict by feeling respected. They go into what they need instead of what the other person needs. So how can a wife respectfully confront? Go ahead. Yeah, I just want to wrap that on in a question, in a sentence. How can a wife respectfully confront behavior that she feels that is hurtful? And how can a husband lovingly confront behavior that she finds disrespectful?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because when there is a conflict, you don't solve it by asking your wife to respect you. You solve the conflict. And as a wife, you don't solve your conflict by asking your husband to love you, because that's manipulation. I find it very often in marital counseling, where a man is saying, this woman is not respecting me. I say, actually, that's not an issue of respect. You have a problem. Solving the problem is not about respect or love. It's about a problem which is between you, and you need to face it and solve it. And then after that, the wife will love you because you managed to solve the problem, and the husband will love you because you complimented him while solving the problem. So I think you don't need to take your authority when you're solving a problem. You need to understand each other and do a win-win solution.
So what's the issue with the love and respect? Because we heard a lot more about women asking, we emphasize on the verse that men should love their women, their wives, almost unconditionally. But we don't really get a lot of examples of how women can respect their husbands. What does that look like in your experience?
Okay. You will understand it. You will understand it when you get married.
Are there signs that you can see before when you're still dating, or you should only respect your husband, not your boyfriend?
No. Actually, when you are dating, that's when you see it. I've seen it. I've been a pastor for many years, and I spend much time with young people. Some girls are so arrogant that I pity the boys who will marry them. Sometimes the girl is standing there and, well, by the way, let me take this example. If a girl is always trying to prove to you that you are useless and you are not achieving as much as so and so is achieving, and he's asking you, when are you going to be like so and so? You already know that if you marry that kind of woman, that's lack of respect, because if you are there, you are young, you are 20, you are 25, you are whatever, then she should be looking at what you can achieve, but not asking you to achieve what you can't achieve at the moment. So respect always goes with that kind of thing. I mean, mainly when you are, but by the way, I often tell boys, if you see a girl who is always checking your bank account and asking you how much money you have, you better put a red flag on that one and say, oh no, actually this one is more interested in my money than in me. So
Yeah. Mm.
things like those.
I think there's a question here from Angie. She just sent it in right now. She says that, do you think it's appropriate for girls to ask their boyfriends to be the provider before getting married? Like, as you're saying, if let's say we're going for, well, it's my birthday, I want him to.
Actually, that's the answer I was giving to Collins.
Right.
If a girl starts making you the provider when you're not even
When you're
married,
married.
you better run away.
Okay.
That's a praying mantis. You know that small animal called the mantis,
Yeah.
the praying mantis. It eats the husband after sex. So
Very scary.
some girls are like that. They start asking you to provide while you're not even married. So that's no. You shouldn't.
You should not. Ash, I think that answers your question. Just to conclude, Pastor, I did a little bit of research to get some fun facts about you, and I want you to confirm them.
Okay.
So some fun facts are that, of course, you're a wise man, you're loving, you're fun, you're family oriented, you're a good dancer. Are you a good dancer, Pastor?
Well, kind of.
You try.
Uh-huh.
And
What else?
you're a writer of books and poems. What's one of the
Yeah.
poems that you've written? I know about your books, but what's one poem that you've written? A name of a
Well,
poem.
actually, I've never published poems, but I've
Oh,
written some. When I was young, I used to write poems that I never published. They come and go. They don't stay. But I could even sit and write one if you give me 5 minutes. But I have never made any collection of poems to publish or to recite. So don't ask about that one. What else?
you have so many talents. You're an amazing grandpa, amazing dad, you're a life coach, and it's easy for you to relate to all age groups, which means you're very social. And lastly, which most people love about you, is that most importantly, you're God-fearing and God-loving. Yeah, this is some fun facts that we're able to gather from some people.
Well, that's good. It's very flattering, but I wish you could have put some of the negatives too, because I do have some, but
No, we'll take you as a good portion for now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shivan.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Any last
I
comments?
I think today communication wasn't so good, but I will give you a repeat some other time.
Thank you.
Because just to redeem what messed up today. So my last comment, I commend you to God. And I thank you for being so open and so nice.
Thank you, Pastor. Please do a closing prayer for us as we wrap up. And it was an honor for me.
I was going to ask for that. So
yeah.
I hope next time the communication will be good and the rain will not, I don't know if it was the rain that affected the communication line, but the thing is, now it's back. So I thank God for it.
Me too.
So next time, I
Thank you
hope
so much
things will be
again.
better. But until then, try to behave yourselves and be godly. So
Thank
let's
you,
pray.
Pastor.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you again. Young people who meet just to talk about how to be godly and how to prepare for godly marriage and ask questions and ask clarifications on issues. I pray that you inspire them by your word and by your Holy Spirit and guide them and make them to become what you intended them to be. Because your word tells us we are your workmanship, created for good works you planned long ago in Christ. So bless all these young people, boys and girls, as they look into the future. Give them hope. A good number of their age mates are desperate, they are hopeless, they are suicidal, they are depressed. But I pray for these ones that you strengthen them in your word, in your salvation, in your Holy Spirit. So guide them and bless them to be a blessing. For in your name, Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much
Now,
again.
Amen.
We're looking
So
forward to
Shiva,
having you again. Thank you.
yeah, you just keep in touch and then we'll find
I
another
will.
day to redeem what was lost today.
I will. But this was also pretty good, honestly. I know it might not have been exactly what we planned for, but it was pretty good. I learned a lot, and I'm glad that people were able to join. And I'm sure we all learned something from you today. And we're still looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank
Have a
you.
lovely evening. Everybody,
Pleasure.
open your mics and say thank you.
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
Pastor.
Thank you. Thank you.